welcome back, and welcome if you're new. My name is Megan and I create videos all about mindset, personal development, and really just finally going after your dream life. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to stop procrastinating and to focus more. This is a question I've gotten a couple of times and something that I think we all absolutely will struggle with at some point or another, but I have definitely found ways over the last couple of years that have really improved just how I work, have helped me kick procrastination and to really get into focused and productive work. So in a nutshell, I think the way that we stop procrastinating really has to do with training our mind. Our attention is pulled in so many different directions at all times, and so I think it's actually quite natural that it takes some concerted effort on our part to operate as our most productive selves. So I look at a lot of this as kind of like playing a game with your mind. How can you make it so that it is appealing to get started? How can you trigger your brain into action? What kind of reward systems can you put in place so that you're enjoying your work? All of those things I think can have a really massive difference for how productive we are, and those are going to be the things we'll be exploring today. So I wanted to touch on this 4-step process that the book Rewire Your Brain takes us through. So number one is focus, and it's just getting that process going. The fact that we want to be more efficient with our time, the fact that we want to get into a good routine. Step 2 comes effort, and that's where you're putting in that daily effort to create a new routine, to create a new neural pathway. And this is where I think practices, for example, like scheduling a focus mate session, can really help create some structure for ourselves so that we have to start showing up, and then it becomes easier to continue to show up. The third step is effortlessness, and that's where things start to just get a little bit easier. You're just in that flow. You're used to flossing every day, so you just floss every day. And then the last step is determination. So that basically just means that we have to keep going. You have to keep putting in that continual effort to maintain that state of effortlessness. And so if you can take that 4-step process and then turn that into a system or a routine that you put in place for yourself, I think that's a really great starting point to kicking procrastination. Because a lot of times it's not that you aren't a hard worker, it's not that you have that determination, but naturally motivation is going to ebb and flow. And so the more that you can just structure that into what you do, the better off you're going to be, and the better you'll be able to stack onto those habits. So habit stacking is something that I learned from James Clear in the book Atomic Habits. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend this book. And I think that we kind of separate these two things. I don't think we think of procrastination as being something that's connected to our routines and our practices, but it makes total sense that if our minds are primed to be active and to do certain things at certain times, that we can just automatically fall into being more productive. How can you create a reward system for yourself? And this doesn't have to be like material things or anything like that. But for example, simply even the peace of mind or the more confidence that you get from actually just going out and doing the thing can often be enough to push you into action. So for example, the reward of doing my workout in the morning, of feeling like my mindset is better, my energy is higher, I just feel like a happier, more thriving person. That reward to me is worth it to get up and get into my workout first thing in the morning and to create that routine. And over time, it becomes easier and easier to do that. Another suggestion is to take just 10 minutes, sit down, list out all of the to-dos or the things in your head, all of those things that are floating around and taking up space. Write them all out and start to mark beside each of those things how much energy they take, how much time do they take. And then when you go about creating your routine or your schedule, start by putting those high energy things first. You're really eating the frog first, I think is the saying. And I really find that that's helpful. Like some of the things that I feel the most resistance to, once I get into it, it's never as bad as I think it's going to be. Find some sort of ignition practice. And this is why so many people recommend making your bed in the morning, because it's like that instant accomplishment. The first thing that you do is an accomplishment, and it really sets the tone for the rest of your day. That's also why I have a work startup routine, because I feel like it primes my brain to get ready to work and makes me in a better headspace and enjoy it more. So what are those ignition type type of activities that you can do to kind of push yourself into getting started. And that's really the hardest part. Like, procrastination is the getting started, because most times once we're in it, then we're able to continue on or push through and really make some progress. If at all possible, try and uncover the root of your procrastination. Is it that you feel so overwhelmed with just all of the things that you have going on, and maybe you just need to break it down into smaller, more digestible, and less overwhelming chunks? Is it that deep down you just really don't like what it is that you're doing? Which there's always going to be parts of our job or a career that sometimes we're just not in the mood for or not feeling, but that's different than just every single day you struggle to show up and enjoy your job, which is probably a much deeper thing than you just being a procrastinator or being lazy or not having discipline. And then my last point on this topic is that motivation comes from action and not the other way around. And I think we have that backwards a lot of the times. We think that we should have this motivation to continually be pushing forward. But like I talked about before, motivation is naturally going to ebb and flow. And it really is through taking action that we get the motivation to do more. And that's why I'm such a big fan of things like habit tracking and doing those little day in and day out activities that make you feel good, that build up that confidence, and that make you want to do more. I hope you liked this video and that you found it helpful. Let us know in the comments down below if you have any of your own tips or tricks for beating procrastination. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all in next week's video. Bye guys!